Okay. Condition code. What is the condition of the unit I'm trying to purchase? And if I select this little square box, these are the options available, right? New, factory new, overhaul, serviceable, etc. If there's a condition here that doesn't show up, you can create it by selecting add. I'm going to leave it as new. And I'm going to tell the system that I am purchasing 3. And price, Apple Parts Corporation is selling these is $75 each. Okay. And I'm going to select OK. And now we will see brake pad. It's been added to our purchase order. Okay. Now it's been added to the purchase order, but it doesn't mean that the parts are in inventory because we have to receive this in. So remember we spoke about the forklift and how I'm going to show you how to receive. Okay. So this is the easiest way to receive. I'm going to go to, so let's pretend that we went home, the parts came in. So I'm going to go to that PO. I'm going to go search PO header. Okay. I'm going to double click on the PO. And then I'm going to go to the bottom. I don't know if you guys can see. I'm going to go to the bottom, global, receiving. And I'm going to click OK. You're done here, right? And they're very quiet. Let me know that you're alive.
Yeah, we are.
All right. All right, fantastic. All right. So in this screen that says default receiving parameters, this screen is not mandatory. Okay, I can bypass this, but this is good information. I can add the location where I'm going to enter the part, if there's a specific warehouse where I'm going to leave the part, or anything else, but it's not mandatory. So I can just select OK, and it will begin that receiving process. So the system is telling me, okay, so we are receiving these parts. There is 3 to receive. The condition is new. Okay, now turn these off just for the sake of this screen. We want to click receive. Yes. Wait, seconds. Okay. Okay, so now if I go back to that inventory screen, you can see that now I have some of these in inventory. I can see it right here. I'm going to turn on this little quick box as well. I can see it right here. It says stock summary. Now I have 3, and they were $75 each. Condition new. Also, to my left, these little boxes indicate that I have. Also, now it shows that there's a purchase order history, right? Because we used a purchase order to buy these parts. Okay, so what if we went out to the market and searched who else has these parts for a better price, $89.89, right? So I'm going to close these up. I'm going to go vendor quote, add. $89.89, that's price. I'm going to click OK. All right, and then I'm going to add some vendors that I found that also sell this part. So I'm just going to say XYZ sells the part. Okay, and they say they have 10 available, and their cost is $64. Okay, I'm going to click OK, and then I'm going to add one more vendor that I found that has the part. Now components, and they have 5 available, and their cost is $79. Okay, that's a good example. I'm going to close this up. Okay, and then if I go back to my inventory screen, I can see that now. I can see that there's vendors that I've seen that have the part, as you can see it right here. Okay, so I have vendor quote history. These two vendors have quoted me this price for this part. I have created a purchase order for this part. And I also have inventory for this part. I'm going to show any customer quote history because I haven't created any customer quote yet. And as you can see here, in the inventory screen itself, I can see a lot of information related just to this one part number. There's also multiple tabs that can be created. Okay? In your live system, when you first log in, you're only going to see these 6 windows. But if you want to, you can modify this by right-clicking here. I can configure browsers, and I can change what information is being displayed.
So by standard, there will be only 3 tabs, like tab 1, tab 2, tab 3.
You can make these tabs. So if you right-click right here and I configure browsers, right now it's set to 0, but you can make tab 1. I can even rename that tab, and I can call this or something. I don't know. Not the interesting. And I can call tab 2 finance. You can get the idea. So the point is that you can rename each tab, and this is based on the user, right? So my screen is not going to look the same as the person sitting next to me. It'll be different. All right. So the next thing that we need here, of course, is a customer quote. If I were to generate a customer quote, that information would be displayed here. From the inventory screen, I can generate a customer quote. There's a button right below that says quote. If I select quote, the system will ask me if there's a customer or a vendor. Here's the difference. Well, vendor quotes I just showed you, we get 2. But if we select customer, this is for a customer. Okay, it's going to ask me what customer. Okay, I'm going to select add. And I'm going to choose this customer, Able. Okay, so I'm creating a quote for Able Support Company for this part. So if I click OK, it will add that one part to the quote. You tell me, okay, you can select the one from inventory. Just going to click OK. Okay, and now you can see customer quote history. There has been a quote created for this particular part to Able Support Company. And here, no. Okay, a lot of these screens, a lot of these cells, not screens, a lot of these cells, if you click on them, you're going to notice this button right here that says inspect on the bottom. Okay? If I click on a cell and this button is active, it means that I can inspect that box. As you can see, inspect came on. But if I go to 75, inspect is off. If I go to the quote number, you're going to notice that that button that says inspect comes live again. So what happens if I click inspect? Well, it will take me directly to that quote number. What that means. Okay, so this is a very easy way to browse between screens. And if I wanted to know more information about the part number, I click on the part number and then I click inspect, and it will take me back to inventory. Okay. All right. So
Yeah, say
what
for
else can we
example,
do?
if we like to modify the part number, if we got a new variant, and while generating the customer quote, we want to modify the part number. For that, we need to click that and press inspect button, right?
Yeah, you would come back to this screen. If you have to change the part number itself, you will go global, change part number. And you can change, that will change the entire part number. That is not common. What it is common is that this is the correct part number, but your customer has it slightly different, and you just want to match what they have. Well, if that's the case, we can go here where it says cross-reference express, means cross-reference, kind of like alternate part number, right? And right now it says quantum alternate for this part, and then I can add, I'm going to type, I'm just going to say interchangeable. Then I can add that other part number, how my customer has it as an example, right? Let's just say they have it as 5A. It's the same exact part number, right? I'm going to click here, I'm going to click OK. All right, so now I've added that alternate part number. You're going to see it right here now.
Okay.
So you can add as many alternate. So if the customer, if this is part number in your system, but the list that they sent you, right, this other part number, you're going to be able to choose the alternate part number to show in the quote.
Okay.
Okay. All right, fantastic. All right, so using the drop down from the inventory screen, again, if we select add, we create a new part number in the system. Okay, part number, let's just do a different one now. Let's just say this is 23589-1, and we're going to say that this is a tire. Okay, so this is a tire. Okay, so what is the difference between this part number and the one that I created earlier? Well, the difference would be here that a tire, 99% of the time, it is a serialized part. So there is a checkbox right here that says serialized. Okay, it is a serialized part, and there's also a shelf life, right? So if I click on both of these, okay, I click OK, and it will create part number. Again, remember, manufacturer is not mandatory, right? Even though it's in red, it's not mandatory, but it can add manufacturer here. I mean, I can add all the information that I want in every single box if I wanted to. Right? We're going to keep it simple. I'm going to click OK, and it will create this part number in quantum as a new part number. Okay. So now I have tire, okay, in my system. What would happen if I try to create a purchase order for this part? Well, let's do that. I'm going to use the drop down, which is the tuck in the clipboard. I'm going to select add, create a new purchase order. I'm going to select my vendor to buy this tire from. Here, I'm going to click OK. And then I'm going to select add on the bottom of the PO. To add the tire on my PO. Here it is. Okay, I'm buying 2 of these. And in their cost, or not, just say $1,400. And I'm going to click OK. All right. So we bought the tire, we sent the PO. I want to show you the other way of receiving, right? So the other way of receiving, the one that I told you that it's more complex, I'm going to use the forklift to receive this time. I'm going to select add. I'm going to find the PO. I'm going to click OK. It's the same process. I'm going to click add on the bottom to receive the 2 tires. It's going to tell me, are these the 2 tires you're receiving? I'm going to click done. And then I'm going to go global finalize. And it won't happen. And I'll show you why. Let's go back to the PO. This will be a lot easier to show you on the PO itself. Let's go search PO header. Let's go to the PO. And I'll show you why right now. Global receiving. I'm going to click OK. And I'm going to click OK. All right, so here are the tires. Total to receive 2. Condition new, etc., etc. My cost was $1,400. Okay, you can enter other information, right? But what happens if I click receive right? The system is going to stop me. right? Because I told the system that these are serialized parts. Okay, I told the system that these are serialized parts. Okay, I'm gonna click OK. So now it's telling me, hey, these are serialized parts. You need to enter a serial number. This is the serial number for one, and I'm gonna make the serial number for the other. Okay, and then I'm gonna click return. And then the system is gonna stop me again. Some required information is not complete, right? Because I also told the system that these parts are shelf life. Right. Okay. So the system wants to know when are they due? When are they set to expire? Okay. So I'm going to enter a manufacture date here, and I'm going to say they were manufactured on Sunday. Okay, so they're good. Nothing else is pretty much needed. I can set an expiration date for this part number if I want to, but it's not required. Okay, there's a ton of information I can enter here, but the only two things were the serial number and the shelf life. Right, so I said manufacture date is this date. I'm going to click receive. And this one asks me to do that anyway. Right. So I'm going to say they expired on the 20th. This one expires on 27th. Okay, so how will this help me? Well, this will help me when I'm trying to sell the part. When I'm trying to sell the part, it will say that you're selling serial number, blah, 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 et cetera, right? Because there's two serial numbers. If I go to this inventory here, it's going to tell me that now I have two of these. It's going to tell me I have two of these, as you can see. I have two, and the second one, I split the lines because they're different serial numbers. This is different from the pads, from the brake pads that we had bought earlier. Pads, we bought three, and it put all three pads on one line. These tires, we bought two, but we put them in different lines, and the reason is it's because they're serialized parts, right? You can be selling U789, or you can be selling the other. Okay. When you're adding these parts onto a quote, let's just go and create a quote. I'm going to select add, create a quote. Okay, and I'm going to create a quote to ABJ. And the purpose of what I'm about to do right now is to show you how the system is going to give you the option to select which one are you selling, right? So I'm going to select add. I'm going to add the tire 235. Okay, I'm going to click anywhere here, and then over to the right, it's going to tell me, well, you have two in inventory, right? That's one. You have two in inventory. Pick one out of the two. Do you want to propose selling to this one or this? Okay. We make the selection. I click on either one by double clicking. Okay, and I want to make 25% from my cost. So I automatically calculate 25% from 1,400 is 1,750 sell price. And now it's added that particular serial number onto my customer quote. Let me show you what a customer quote looks like. So this button called Global, you're going to find the button that's called Global all over Quant, right? And it's located right down here. Okay, it's always located on the bottom. It's always not located in the exact same location. Sometimes it's here, sometimes it's around here. It's always on the bottom and to the right. I'm going to click Global. I'm going to click Print. And I'm going to click Quote. Okay. I'm going to click Print again. And it's going to give me a preview of what my quote looks like to my customer. All right, so it says tire, serial number, the one that I chose. And if I had filled out the search stores, the tag stores, and the tag date, all that information will be displayed here. Remember, I said during receiving, you can fill out all that information pertaining to the tag. that information would be displayed here if I had done that. So it says condition new. This is the price. This column that says discount, I can get rid of that column. Like edit, don't show discount. You can also remove the tax force date if you don't have it and you don't want to display it. So it will look like this. Okay, so now we have serial number, and that one column for the discount is gone. Right, so line amount, total amount is here. Keep in mind this is an example from our training database. In your live database, you're going to have your logo, your address, and of course your own numbering, right? In your live database, keep in mind that everything starts with number 1. So be ready to set up your live database with your own numbering, right? I don't recommend you start at 1, but a lot of people start at number 1000 as an example. Or if you want to follow what you're currently doing in your current system, you can do that. Okay, so this is a basic quote. These forms can be modified. I can't do it. You can't do it. They have to be submitted to component control in San Diego. But these forms can be changed if you need to change something on it. Okay?
So if I want to quote, on a multiple currency, like how is it possible? Like along the US?
We can. Yeah, absolutely. So if I wanted to, let me minimize this real quick. Here. Euro symbol, copy. Okay, cool. So I'm going to go here, user, system setup, system browser, and I'm going to go to company management, and I'm going to go to currency code. All right, currency code. Okay, so currency code. Oh, we do already have euro. Oops, okay. So I'm going to select euro. I'm going to select edit. I'm going to add a little symbol so then we can tell that this is the euro. And I'm going to click OK. So I got it in there. Okay, cool. So how do I do this? Well, we already have the quote open. So on the quote, I can click global, edit header. And on the header of the quote, you can change the currency to euro. And I'm going to click OK. You can add any currency you want. However, the system is not updated with current market conditions, right? So it is something that has to be done manually. But yes, you can definitely add that it's going to be euros. So I'm going to click print. And now you can see that it says 1610 10 euros.
So if I want to project like multiple currency for the same report, say for example, if I want to project US dollars as well as my local currency, that is AED, is it possible, like in a single report, both the currencies?
So what you want to do is that here you want to say, okay, so if you pay me in US dollars, it's 1500. If you pay me in euros, it's 1610.
Yes.
The other currency is the system will not do this. No. Yeah. So from here at least, I don't know if that form can be modified for you. You would have to reach out to Jessica to schedule this training.
Okay.
That can be done to the form, but with your current fit that you have, no.
Okay.
You can't do that.
Okay.
All right, so let's go back to inventory because that's what we're covering. So I added that tire to my quote, right? What happens to my inventory? I added that specific serial number. This is it? No, this is that part. It was like 235 something. Okay. So I added that tire to my quote. In my inventory, absolutely nothing happened. Okay. you can create as many quotes and add parts all day long. It does not affect inventory. It does not affect counting. It doesn't do anything. All it does is just for information. Now, what happens if I turn that customer quote into a sales order? Okay, so let's go see what happens. So let's go back to the quote. I gotta fix something first because it's just bothering. Here. So now it should work. It's not working. Move on. There must be something to do with the screen here. Customize. Okay. Well, in what I was trying to fix is that if you open different screens in Quantum, you should be able to see the window bar on the bottom. It's not doing it, and I don't know why. On the top. Window bar. Close. Toolbar. Yeah. Oh, that's odd. I've never seen it here. So now we can browse between our inventory and our customer quote. Okay, so that's what I was trying to say. So here's our customer quote. So we're going to turn this customer quote into a sales order. Remember, the button global is like main menu, right? I said that. So I'm going to go global, create sales order, all items. Okay, create sales order screen comes up. I don't have to do anything with this screen, but if the customer, AGJ, provided me a purchase order, I can enter it here. Okay, for 79, they're buying the part, they accepted my price. And it's going to move all the information, all this information, except the quote number. It's going to move all this information onto a sales order. And as you can see here, it created sales order 100,023, ABJ Corporation, same company, same part, right? Same price. Now, what happens to my inventory after I created the sales order? That is the purpose of this exercise. So let's go back to inventory. I'm going to hit refresh. Can you see that my first line turned red? Yeah. So now it's telling me that, yes, you still have two in inventory. However, this line is now unavailable, right? Because it is reserved, right? As you can see here, on it on hand 2, and available only says 1. So once you start moving a part from a quote to a sales order, it locks that part to that particular sales order. Okay. Now, a part does not leave inventory until the invoice is closed. Okay, so that is also something very critical. So let's go back to the sales order. Okay, so I'm in a sales order now, right? If I want to create an invoice, I go back to global. Remember, I'm going to go to global, and the button is called Invoices and Forms. Okay, and the reason the button is called Invoices and Forms is because this is the only place and you can create the invoice and forms associated with the part number. What are these forms? In the U.S., it's very common to use the APA 106, right, which is a common form for parts. I love mentioning to customers because for some reason some people think that this is a control document. It is not.
No, yeah.
Control document. Yeah.
Yes.
So some people think that an APA 106 is a control document. It is not a control document. You can make it out of a napkin. Okay, so it starts creating an invoice. Currency is going to stay with euros because we had changed it to euros. I'm going to click OK. It's going to ask me, is this a part that you want to add to your invoice, and I'm going to select done. And it generates my invoice. Okay, so here's my invoice. Now keep in mind, here's our part number. I'm going to go global print so I can see what my invoice looks like. I'm going to select invoice. Remember the button global. What I said global is like main menu, right? You're going to find global everywhere. You're going to use global print. Okay. Before I print, I also want to show you that in every screen, almost every screen, there is a button called Quick Print over to the left. I don't want you to use this until you have used the system for at least 2 weeks. I want you to be familiar with going to global print. Be familiar with this first. After you've done this 20 times, then yes, you can come directly here and go to the quick print. I will tell you right now why.
Okay.
When you go global print and you go invoice, it gives you options. These are the options. If you go directly to this, it bypasses all these options and it just prints. It prints whatever the settings were. It doesn't give you any options. So that is the difference between going global print and going to this quick print button here. Okay, so now it's giving me the options, right? It's going to ask me, okay, so this document here is going to be invoice. By the way, I don't know if I mentioned it, if I didn't, but there's a series of videos on YouTube on how to use Quantum. The videos are extremely old. They are, the years are 14, the videos are 14 years old, but they're still very relevant. Yeah, the screens look totally different. They're still very relevant. You can learn a lot from these videos. Okay, so first document I want to print is my input. The second document that I want the system to print, if I need it, is the ATA 106. Okay. We also want a packing.
Yes, packing service required, yes.
Okay. I also want, well, I don't need an 8130. Hazardous material, if you need to, you can print one. Material cert remarks, this is for the ATA 106. ATA 106 is our not an incident. I mean, the statement is something like DD 250. This is a required form if you're selling to Boeing, Rockwell Collins, or any other companies that deal with government aircraft. And the last thing that you can print is a CFC. Okay, particular compartment. Okay, so I didn't select any of these. So once I already made my selection, I'm going to print OK. This has to be done one time. Once I set up which form I will print, you don't have to come back here again and set it up. Unless it has changed. Unless on the next part you have to print something different. But once you know that you always print the invoice, you always print the packing stuff, you always print the ATA 106, you never have to touch these settings again, because the system will remember that this is what you like based on your username, right? Based on your username, the system will remember that these are your prints. Okay. So I'm going to select print, and it's going to show me the part invoice. This is the invoice. Again, this is our standard invoice. This form can be changed. I don't have the power to do it. You don't have the power to do it. I'm going to select close. Next document is the ATA 106. Okay, here's the part. Here's my notes. This part was not in any incident. I'm going to select close. And the last document is always packing slip, right? So it's packing slip on the top. Okay. This thing here that says return material authorization must accompany. This is what's called clauses in the system. Okay. Clauses, I like to call them terms and conditions. Terms and conditions can be added to any document. They can be as long as you like them to be. There is no limit. And I will show you how to do that. Okay, I'm going to select close. All right. So then the system, after I reviewed the invoice, it's going to ask me if I want to post. Okay. The part will remain in inventory unless I post. So this is something very, very, very important. Okay, because if you don't post, and I go back to my inventory, I take a second or not. Sorry, no, thank you. Okay, if I go back to my inventory screen, it is going to show that my part is still here, right? I created a sales order, I created an invoice, but my part is still here. Part will remain in inventory until I post. So what will happen if I post? I'm going to go global, post invoice, and as you can see in parentheses, that's ship. I'm going to click ship, okay? And this will change from reviewed on the top to posted in a second. There we go, posted. Okay, so now what will happen if I go back to my inventory? Now the part is finally gone. Stock summary only shows one. Okay, so very, very important. Parts do not leave quantum inventory unless the invoice is finalized and posted. Okay. All right. Turn off my assist. I keep getting those requests for support. Okay. All right. Oh yeah. So since I just showed you those, can you guys see those little yellow screens popping up on my window requesting support?
Yeah. No, I couldn't see.
You can't see that? Oh, okay. There's a little window that popped up on my screen when people are requesting support. I wanted to show you this. This is not part of the training, but you will need to know this anyways. Okay. So once you guys are live, and you cannot do this until you are live, until you're using your live database, you can request support. It's free of charge by going here to componentcontrol.com, going customers, and clicking right here where it says technical support. There isn't a limit on how many times you can ask for support. You will never be charged for support. Okay, it is part of what you pay for. So if you click on technical support, there's a screen that comes up that says, please fill out this information. You fill out the information, and then we will contact you ready for support. Again, there isn't, you can do this 2 times a day, 3 times a day, it doesn't matter. This is where you come, you request for support, technical support, and we will assist you with anything that you need. I would say that 7 out of 10 times we can resolve whatever your issue you're having via email. We respond to your request via email, with screenshots on what it is that you need. If we need to connect with you, we will connect with you. Our response time is within 2 hours.
2 hours.
Okay, so just letting you know, yep, you can always come here, technical support, fill this out. You will not be billed. We do not send a report to your boss that you are asking for support. I've heard the craziest excuses why people won't use support. They think they were going to tell their boss that they don't know how to use the system. Okay, so now that we covered that.
And how many queries we can ask? Is there any limit on that per day? Like?
No, absolutely not. Yes, no. If you fill out 3 requests for support in one day, nobody's going to tell you, hey, you ran out of chances. No, there isn't anything like that. If you need support, we will support you here. Absolutely. All right. So once to inventory, because that is our agenda for today. Okay. So in inventory, if I want to see what I have in my inventory, I can go search stock. Now, search stock is different from search master parts. Remember what I said about master parts? Master parts is a catalog of all the parts that you can do business with, right? So when I go search master parts, I can have 100,000 part numbers.
Yes.
Which I probably think I do, right? It does not mean that I have all of these in my inventory, right? I could have just loaded 100,000 part numbers in my system. How did I load 100,000 parts in my system? Very easily. I went here, I went import, and as you can see, there's an Excel, and I selected parts. And then this screen to open up in Excel, if I have a file here, I can open it, but I don't. I can load 100,000 parts via Excel onto Quantum, right? So there are different search master parts from search stock. If I select search, it's only going to give me what I have in inventory. Yeah. So this screen is very neat. I think it can be used in multiple ways because I can search by part number. I can search by serial number when I have in stock. I can search by condition, and I can also search by expiration date. I don't know if I have anything that, well, let's just say what expires by the time. Remember we added those 2 tires, right, that expire. So it's giving me everything here, right, as a list that expires before this year, which is tons of things. All of these things are set to expire. Okay? If I wanted to export this list, I can right-click anywhere on the screen, and I can go export data, and it will export as a CSV file. Okay? And it will export every single column that you see here. Okay? Each column, just like in Excel, I can grab the column, move it over wherever I want it, and then I right-click and save the personal settings. So then the next time I log in, that column will be exactly where I left it. Exactly where I left it. Again, this is based on the user that's currently logged in, right? So I can change these however I want. When I'm here browsing inventory, I can make changes if I want to, right? So let's say that this screw right here that says quantity 1, I checked in inventory and there isn't any. They're gone. There isn't one. Okay? So I can go adjust quantity.
That is while checking physically, right? No, while checking physical, while doing audit, I found out that there is some mismatch in the quantity. During that scenario, we will adjust over here, right?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So during a physical count, you came in, instead of 7, you found, as an example, right? So you will come here, you go adjust quantity, and I'm going to say, okay, I found, instead of 7, I found 6. I'm going to go -1 for mark. 1 missing, I mean, you can add a remark or not. And I'm going to click OK. I'm just going to change that 7 onto a 6. Now, I don't think you guys have any accounting software connected to Quantum, but if you did, that shrinkage, inventory shrinkage, would be posted, right? It would create a credit to your account shrinkage, right, and a debit to inventory.
Only we have QuickBooks for the integration, right? Any other software we can integrate?
No. QuickBooks is the only one that we have for integration. Now, I don't know if you can use anything else.
Okay.
But Quantum will tell you that QuickBooks is the only one that you can use.
Okay. And one more, I have a query, like the export-import function, what you showed, it is almost available in all the tables, what we see, right? In all the modules, we can export-import.
Almost all of them. Yeah.
Great.
Yeah. I believe you can do it in quotes, you can do it in POs. Yeah, I think in everything that you guys have, you can import it. All right, cool. So let's go back to inventory. Yes, so if we were to bring in all the part numbers, we would do it with here, import parts. If we want to import inventory, import. Okay, so if we have an Excel spreadsheet and we have 2,000 parts in our inventory, we can import those as well. Pipelines, this is something different. We don't cover this during basic training. Just to give you a brief idea of what it is, a pipeline is a specified is a price. Let's say you have a set price that you sell to airlines. You can add price lines. So every time that you sell to airlines, this is going to know, okay, you know what? This particular customer is an airline, so everything that we sell to them is an additional 10%, right? So that's what price line is. It creates a price adjustment based on the category of your customer. So if it's let's say it's an internal customer, it's a different company of yours, you can create a price line to give this internal customer a discount of 8%, and that's what price line is. We don't cover that during basic. All right, perfect. The other thing is lot manager. You guys don't have access to lot manager. Lot manager, if you are, if your company, you do have it? Okay.
No.
Okay. Well, if your company buys lots, this is a great tool. It is one of my favorites. It is a great tool because what Lot Manager does is, let's say you buy a container full of miscellaneous aircraft parts, 500,000. That's what Lot Manager does. It creates that. It creates that screen with all those parts worth 500,000, and every time that you sell a part, it starts deducting from that original cost, right? So you sell one for 10,000. Now your lot cost is 490. Okay, perfect. The other thing that I wanted to show you, which is another one of my favorite things under inventory, this is something else that I think is worth the money. It's called the ILS part search. This is an additional cost. If you have access to ILS, you can pay for an additional license where if you're searching for a part and you select ILS search, it will search for that part for you. Let me see if I have mine. I'll give you a quick. Yep, I do. Okay, so let me just go my inventory. We'll come back to that when it comes back. All right. In the bottom menu of inventory, of course, we have find, and here we can select find part numbers. We have search, which is almost the same thing. We can search the master part. We can search for kits because here we can also create kit part numbers. Okay. We can search time life for parts that are time life, and we can have other searches, adjustments, transaction history, etc. Okay. You have an add button. What this button does is, let's say I wanted to add inventory without a PO. I can go add stock line. What is that? So I'm adding a stock line without a purchase order. So I'm going to say I'm adding one. Serial number is going to be whatever. And this requires an expiration date. That expires on the 25th. And I click receive, and I just received into my inventory an additional tire. You're going to see a line right here. It's going to create a stock summary of an additional line. So this is another way of adding inventory without a purchase order. Right? So let's say that in your life system, you want to start to manually add part numbers that you had already in the system. You don't have to create a PO for. Or to come here, add stock line, and add them individually. Okay. Edit the part name and any other information, not the part number. Right? I can edit the part name. I can edit the procurement. I can edit other things. I can edit, lead days. I can buy this in 5 days, and I can edit anything else. I'm going to remove shelf life. Right. Delete. You can't delete. Okay. Even though the button's here, even if you try, you can't. If I select delete, it's just going to tell me it can be deleted. Even if I don't have quantity, you can delete. The purpose of a database, again, is to collect data. Okay, so it is extremely difficult to be able to delete any of the data in the database unless you have someone with access to SQL, which you guys don't have access, right? SQL. Okay. View, it just changes the views of different items that you can see here. For example, this one is looking at the master part number. Note, this is very important. I like it. I'm going to turn on this button that says Show Dynamic Notes. Note. All right, so I can say, I'm going to click OK, and then I can add a note on the top. Okay. Now, what's cool about these notes is that when I'm searching master part, and what is it? You can see the note on the bottom. That's what this gray box is for on the bottom, right? If I click on the next part, also a note on that part that says see also, blah, blah, blah. So it's a good place to browse through notes when you're searching for that master part. Very good place. What is the bottom part of the screen? Well, you're not going to see any notes now, but the bottom part of the screen is, let's go to the purchase. If I had added notes, I don't know if I'm going to do that. I have added notes here. So if I had a note on my purchase order when I bought the part, let's go refresh. It is not. Yeah, it's because it's closed. The idea is that those notes will display here. No. Yeah, any notes while it's still open that you added, you'll be able to browse them on this second screen. Okay? Stock market. What is the stock market? Okay, so if this was a real part, we can buy this part in what we call the stock market.
In stockmarket.arrow, like we use.
Yeah. So stock market is just like ILS on page or any of those. So if this was a real part, I would be able to click available on stock market. Actually, let's do that. So search master part 005. I know. We need 005. Let's go to a real part. Switch rocker type. This is a real part. So if I go to this part and I select stock market, not. Oh, it's still loading. Oh, you get the idea. It shows parts that you can send in RFQ to, so different companies. I can send in RFQ to. Let's go search master part A100. By the way, Jessica, who handles my schedule, she changed today's meeting so an additional half an hour without your consent. Are you comfortable with continuing?
Yes, we accepted that.
Okay, sure. Okay, so now I'm going to click available A100. Oh, there we go, perfect. So now it's showing me all the companies that have this flight recorder available, right? The companies that show on the top of the logo, these companies are paying additional fees to be on the top.
Okay.
Right? So if I select one of these, or however, and I click send RFQ, which I'm not, it will actually send a request for quote based on your company, right? So based on the profile that is in here, let's see what profile we have. So based on this email, SAG, it will send an RFQ that you are looking for this part.
Okay.
And they will reply based on also your statement that you have here. I hope it doesn't come up with all these odd characters. Probably doesn't. But I don't know if you can see that. Okay. Anyway.
Can you show like format, like how they will receive my mail? Like when I send it through Snow.
When you said, yeah.
Yes.
Totally. Let's see what I have that you can function. That's great. Okay, we'll choose something that I have in my inventory. This one here. I'm going to select the part number. I want to make sure that it actually shows. 0112. Okay. 0112. Because you can't send one to, even though it says I have 15 on Zoom. That's not what I wanted to test, to see if you can send one to me, but what I think will, well, let's do one anyway. Why not? Let's do the flight recorder, let's go available stock market. Go to, let's see if there's one here for test. No. So there isn't one here that we can. Yeah, unfortunately there isn't one. So we'll just send one anyway. So I'm going to go send RFQ. Send RFQ to select the vendors. I'm going to select send now. Okay. Oh, you should be getting an email under that email that says S8.
Yeah.
You should be getting an email of what the RFQ looks like.
Okay.
I don't know how quickly and you will get it, but it definitely sent it out.
Okay. Just have been checking that spam. I haven't received it.
Getting? No, you haven't?
No. No.
I'm not quite sure. Could be that from the training database, this
Okay.
is inactive. Right? So it could be that this is inactive from the Mitsubishi test stock market. So it's not fully connected to the stock market. It could be that from the test database, this is not active.
And also, in case of ILS integration, the RFQ what we send from here will be a standard format, right? Like, just I
Want
want,
to show you,
yeah,
show you what
format,
format.
yeah.
Let's go to, so this is a real part number, right? This is my system, right? This is
Okay.
if I click available ILS search, it's going to show me every company that has this part available, right? So it's quite a few.
Okay.
On the top, I have filters for new and
Yes.
surplus, right? I can use any of these filters. And there's
Yes.
also filters based on location, right? So let's say that for you guys, this is Canada, United Kingdom. So United Kingdom is probably the closest thing to you. So there's two in United Kingdom, and these are the two companies. So if I want to send to Proton Limited, I can click here, set RFQ, and it will generate an RFQ just like the RFQs that you send in ILS. It uses the same exact template. Okay? There is absolutely no difference than if you were sending it from ILS directly from the website. Yeah, it's the thing. I'm not going to press OK.
Yeah.
Because if I do, my system is live. I don't want to bother these people with it.
Okay. So once once the vendor sends us the reply in terms of price, everything, will it get reflected in the system, or we have to manually enter the vendor?
That is a very valid on-point point.
Mm-hmm.
So if the vendor updates price, because they get a notification on ILS that you're looking for this part. If on ILS they reply with a price, it will automatically add that pricing in quantum automatically.
Mm-hmm.
They replied, this vendor replied, Ferrotron, and they're selling you the part for $25,000. However, I don't know a single company who doesn't reply via email to the RFQ. I think everybody replies to RFQs via email, and there's no way to capture them. So you would have to manually, after they reply to you, go to the vendor quote, right? Let's just say it was this one.
And that's the issue. Like usually the vendors, they reply to the email, not to the format.
Yes, but the system does have the capability to automatically add that pricing if they replied within ILS.
Okay.
The other thing that the system does, of course, and it's just like stock market, if the company doesn't exist in your quantum, it will create it for you with your address, your phone number. So the ILS price is one of my favorite things. I'm not in sales, but I do think it is worth to look at the price. I don't know.